Does the feeling of being in trouble ever go away? And listen, if you know, you know, but I'm going to explain it to people who might not understand what we're talking about. So I am the daughter, well, I'm a motherless daughter, but I'm the daughter of a mother who she's still alive, we're no contact over 30 years, who is a sociopath and a narcissist. And the way that I carried responsibility for the world around me and that feeling of being in trouble was a huge struggle for me. Somebody could tell me that a bad thing happened in another country that I've never even been to, and I would immediately feel my heartbeat like, did I have anything to do with that? Am I in trouble? Oh no. Like literally, it's such a weird thing to look back on and go, that's so crazy silly, right? But when you're a child a child growing up with the abuse that's perpetrated by someone who is narcissistic or a narcissist, they make you responsible for everything. They make you responsible for what they're doing to you. You deserve it, right? I deserved it. My mother in particular made me responsible for whether or not my grandfather had a heart attack and would die. And if I didn't pay attention to him, by the way, he was my first Esther, okay? If I didn't pay attention to him, if I didn't call him, I was going to kill him. He was going to have a heart attack and die. I don't know what he died from years later after I was no contact, but I can tell you in the time that I was in contact, which was until my mid-20s, I am not aware of my grandfather ever having had a heart attack. Yet I believed that I had the superpower that I could cause him to have a heart attack. And so I would, stay out of trouble preventatively by doing what I was told. And if something was going on around me, I was becoming smaller so that I could avoid getting in trouble for something that I could not have had anything to do with. All of those feelings, all of that anxiety was so deeply embedded in me for such a long time. And I don't have any of it now, like zero. I hadn't really thought about it until you asked the question, actually. I thought, oh, I must live somewhere. I must still have, nope, nothing, zero. So the answer is yes. And what's worked for me, and by the way, I'm a therapist. I work with survivors of narcissistic abuse, their perpetrators being their parents and those family systems. And what I find has worked for me and works really well with my clients also is learning how to live in the world from the inside out. And part of that is the relationship we build with ourselves. And what that looks like is nobody else's opinions or thoughts are ever going to mean more to me, are ever going to be more significant than what I know about myself, what I know to be true. That doesn't mean I don't care about what people think. It doesn't mean that I'm not being considerate of other people's feelings and things like that, although I'm not responsible for their emotions, just for being respectful and being kind. I am responsible for that. It means that when something bad happens, I don't immediately go to that place of, oh, what are they going to think and I'm in trouble? I actually go nowhere now. And when I was in the process of it, I would go to, I'd feel my heart flutter a little, and I'd go to, wait a minute, Marn, don't be silly. You didn't do anything wrong. It's going to be okay. And having that self-love, that self-talk, that validation, and staying away from the criticism of that voice that was implanted by my mother. I've said this before, I went no contact with her for a reason. And part of going no contact is not allowing her to speak to me through me anymore. So I hope this helps. I hope it gives you not just maybe a skill to think of, but also the hope in knowing that 100,000%, yes, that feeling of being in trouble really does go away.